So you want to start a fall garden, but you have no idea where to start. Let's talk about it. Now, one of the first things about when to plant your fall garden is the idea that a fall garden starts in the fall, and that is a big misconception. Your fall garden is actually a garden that starts now, that you grow through the fall and into the fall. But if you wait until the fall to start your fall garden, you are already too late. Now, fall garden planning is going to start with our first frost date. All you have to do is head to almanac.com. You can search up your frost dates, you put in your zip code, and it's going to give you your estimated last frost and the most important date for us for our fall garden, which is our estimated first frost date. And once you have that date, all you have to do is backtrack based off of the plants that you want to grow in the season. Now, there are a couple of things that we want to take into consideration for all of our crops that we're growing in our fall garden. We want to make sure that those plants have enough time to either get established before that first frost, and those are going to be our frost tolerant and hardy crops. We want to make sure that they're big enough to be able to handle the frost when the frost comes. Now, for our frost tender crops, we want those crops to not only be established, but to have enough time to harvest off of them before the frost comes, because the frost is going to wipe out those crops. They're not going to last. So let's do a little math to figure out what that's going to look like. And we're going to do it for two different crops that are pretty common in my fall garden. So the first is going to be kohlrabi. What we're looking at is the days to maturity. So this plant says that it is 55 days to mature. Now, what we'll do is, if I know that my first frost is November 2nd, and this is a frost tolerant crop, I'm going to take that November 2nd and I will subtract 55 days from that, and that'll be the last day that I can start planting this crop. And this is one that's direct sowing. So that puts me at beginning of September direct sowing this crop. I can also transplant this crop a little closer to that time, because it is going to be a crop that can deal with some of the frost. Now, on the other hand, a crop that is not frost tender is going to be bush beans, but this is a big part of my fall garden. So these say that they are 56 days to mature. Technically, the last day that I could plant these would be the same as my kohlrabi, but because this is a fruiting crop, I want to have some weeks to actually harvest that crop. So I'm going to add about 3 weeks at least to when I plant these out. Now, the other thing that we really want to take in consideration is in the fall, things start slowing in production because it is getting cooler. So I generally add an additional 2 weeks to any of my crops that I'm going to be trying to harvest fruit off of, or pods off of. So that means I'm adding about 4 or 5 weeks onto my beans. So instead of me being able to plant them through September, I will probably stop planting these the 2nd or 3rd week of August, so that I have enough time to get a good harvest off of my warm season crops that are getting planted in the fall. And I know that is a lot, and it is a lot of math to do for every crop. So I wanted to show you guys something that I have created, because I love making gardening easy. So let's take a look. Check out part 2 to see how that planner works.